We all know that shooting roses in bright sunlight is not optimal. I don't think it's anyone's first choice, ever, but sometimes you just can't choose. Suppose you're on vacation and you've only got between 2 and 4 in the afternoon to visit a rose garden. Well, there has to be a way to grab some photos that you can be proud of and to show your family and friends and post on social media. So we've got a few ideas for you.
We've just finished walking through the formal gardens and we're on our way back to the rose garden area. This is a wood lily that is to our right, and we continue through the garden and on the walkway. Here is the sign for the All-American Rose Selections display garden, and we're walking in at this point. That bottle brush has hummingbirds all the time in it. We've captured a couple of them. There might even be a few when you get there.
We're not the only ones here dealing with the bright sunlight. Here's a little bunny over in the edge of the garden, squinting his eyes. We've brought a diffuser with us, and we took turns holding it for each other, but it turns out that we actually did prefer the roses that we photographed in bright sunlight, which kind of led to the theme of this video. Here you can see I had the diffuser with me, but I opted to not use it. I just tucked it up under my arm and just went about my business. One way to reduce contrast in these roses that we've shot out in bright sunlight is to use the Orton Effect. This is a post-processing technique, and it's really very, very easy to do. Here's a tutorial coming up. So for the Orton Effect, we're going to copy our layer. We're going to go up to Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur. We're going to go somewhere around 35–40%. Just kind of do this to taste. You want it to be a little blurrier than you actually want the end product to be. Then you're going to go to your blending modes. I like lighten or soft light. I find usually work the best, but choose whichever one you like. And then adjust your opacity to taste. And here I believe we put it down to 50%. And then we've blinked the little eyeball off and on so we can see the effect, and you can see how it reduces that contrast just a bit. We're bringing it up a little more. This is, purely to your taste. You decide what you think looks nice. Blink your eyeball off and on and save your image. That's all there is to it. Here's one more look at the rose garden at Shore Acres on a bright sunny day. The most obvious choice for photographing in bright sunlight is to use an ND filter, but suppose you don't have one of those. Well, all is not lost. Tips for photographing flowers in bright sunlight. Number 1, underexpose just a little bit. This is probably the most widely known and most widely used. Number 2, look for shade where only the top edges of the flower are in sunlight. And I would like to add not only the top edges, but any other part of the flower where the sunlight can emphasize the shape or form of the flower, and also where the sunlight can emphasize a certain area of the flower. Number 3, in post-processing, you can use those sliders to open up the shadows and reduce the highlights. Number 4, experiment with perspectives and angles. So take a step to the right or to the left And maybe shoot more from underneath the flower. Kind of experiment and see what you can come up with. Number 5, use the Orton Effect. We've talked about that already. That works very well. Number 6, pop a bit of light from a reflector onto the flower. If you bring a tripod, you can put your camera on the timer and then hold the reflector at different distances from the flower and at different angles and see what you can get. If you have any additional tips for shooting flowers in bright sunlight, please post them in the comments. We would love to read them.